On your side, this is News 12 at 11.
Good evening, I'm Richard Rogers.
And I'm Meredith Anderson. The people of Martin, South Carolina will sleep a lot better tonight knowing the train derailment that happened just down the street has not put them in danger after all.
Experts from CSX, DHEC, the EPA all gathering tonight to tell the community anything they wanted to know. As News 12's Christy Etheridge tells us, they were not shy about asking.
Question.
What is the proper protocol?
After question.
How will it affect us in the long run?
After question.
Where did you see those reports?
Determined to know the truth after a train derailed, spilling 19,000 gallons of hydrochloric acid and 4,000 gallons of diesel fuel in the small town of Martin.
I feel better about the health concerns. I do. I really do.
Experts resorting to demonstrations to help them understand.
The crack was only on the head shield. It did not impact the actual container.
That was to explain that only 1 gallon of sodium hydroxide had spilled from the container, instead of the 100 he originally thought. They also explained the luck of a spill in the wetland. Since the ground was already soaked, they say a pool of water caught the hydrochloric acid. And since the crash, they've used at least 40 tons of soda ash to neutralize the acid, making it inert. But tonight, answers were neutralizing fear.
Do you feel safe drinking the water?
Yeah, I do.
Crews were still out there today, some in hazmat suits, others hammering along the rail line. So far, they've spent $4 million on cleanup, and they plan to monitor the area for the next 6 months. The next pH study happening next week. With questions answered and concerns eased, now the community is focused on making sure next time they get this information sooner.
We weren't going to get a meeting. Like, they didn't feel the need to tell us anything. That's why I said what I said in there. I appreciate them for coming because, I mean, as a community, we shouldn't have had to ask for this meeting.
Of course, they're hoping there won't be a next time, but there is an alert system you can sign up for. They're called Red Alerts, and they will either call, text, or email you about everything from school closing to evacuation plans. And I'll put details on how to sign up on our website, WRDW.com.
Christy, back to the original question. Any word tonight on the investigation into what caused the crash?
Not yet, Richard. They say it's too early right now. They just don't know. But they did give an update on the 2 employees who were injured in that crash. The engineer, they said, had a cut on his head, but both people have been released from Doctors Hospital and are now at home resting.
Cold front well east of the area, and tonight skies are clearing out and temperatures dropping off. This is how your morning's going to go. Wake up forecast 33 at 6 a.m., 34 by 7, and we're looking at sunshine, clear skies, and 35 at 8 a.m. with northwest winds at around 3 to 6 miles per hour. So not as windy for the area as we start out the day. So all green, no disruptive weather out the door, and it looks like lots of sunshine and a little warmer as we head toward tomorrow afternoon. We'll look at that. But Arctic air is on the way toward the deep south. Details on that coming up later on. Meredith.
Thank you, Shane. 24 hours after the first measles case hits Georgia, school systems here say they are ready.
News 12's Alma McCarty breaks down how Columbia County schools plan to take on the measles.
Sally Rich says there's no reason to be alarmed just yet.
Measles and the vaccine shot, how to prevent it, and it has information about the shot, how safe it is, how measles spreads, and how you can prevent it from spreading.
She runs this child care facility in Augusta, and she says she's prepared.
These are things that actually have to be reported to the health department if they come about. Nobody's taking any chances.
Columbia County Director of School Health, Lisa Whitlock, says it's not her mostly vaccinated student body she's worried about.
The Columbia County school system only has 1% of students who are unvaccinated, and that's for medical or religious reasons.
I believe the CDC now is focusing a lot in on the adults who may not be fully immunized with the MMR. Just this morning, information was sent out to our employees from myself concerning their vaccination records.
Nancy Frazier knows how bad measles can be.
My mother pretty much kept me isolated from other children.
Frazier may be one of the very people Whitlock is concerned about.
On the part of the kids, I feel like we're pretty well covered. We're being very practical about it. We don't need to be alarmist about it.
Educating parents on what to look for with the infectious disease is a key part of the prevention plan.
You're always worried that one of your children might get it. Our job then is to prevent the exposure of anybody else.
And she'll sound the alarm if she needs to. Alma McCarty, News 12.
Richmond County schools will be following orders from the County Department of Health, and Aiken County schools will remove unimmunized students from the schools if they are exposed. They can return in 3 days with proof of immunization.
Since the beginning of the year, people in 18 states and Washington, D.C. have gotten the measles. The CDC is reporting more than 120 cases across the country, with about 85% of those linked to Disneyland. Today, federal health officials were on Capitol Hill talking about re-emerging diseases that are preventable by vaccines.
Most communities have high immunization rates, and it's just these newer communities where parents are opting out.
Dr. Schuchat also responded to fears vaccines might cause autism or other health problems. She says vaccines are safe and effective.
Voters in North Augusta went to the polls today to fill 3 seats on city council. One incumbent is on the way out with some new blood coming in. Incumbent Jimmy Adams, political newcomer Bob Brooks, and incumbent Kim McDowell are all heading into office. The one incumbent who did not get elected was Carolyn Baggett. Since there are no Democrats in the race, the top 3 are elected. The Board of Regents naming the people responsible for searching for GRU's new president. The board announced a 21-person search committee, and Augusta's own regent, James Hull, will head that up. The job is to find a replacement for Dr. Ricardo Aziz, who steps down June 30th. All the people on the committee are listed on our website, WRDW.com. Grovetown Public Safety considering expanding on their pink jumpsuits for prisoners. We spoke with Chief Gary Jones, who says they're considering painting the walls of the detention center pink. He tells us he spoke to a psychologist about that, but nothing is set in stone. Public Safety decided to put the male inmates in pink to let them know who runs the jail and hopefully encourage them not to come back.
South Carolina State University leaders are asking people to call their leaders and the governor's office to help stop a measure passed in a House subcommittee today. The bill would close the school for 1 year from 2015 to 2016 so it can fix its financial problems. SC State's president spoke to a crowd of worried students and staff tonight.
It has incited worry and panic among our students, their parents, faculty, staff, alumni, and our supporters everywhere. It is unwarranted at this time. I want to make one thing clear. South Carolina State will not close.
Qualifying students would be allowed to transfer to another state public school if this measure does go through. It still has to pass a full committee and the full House. By the way, by our count, the CSRA has 10 student athletes at South Carolina State.
After the death of a U.S. hostage, Senator Lindsey Graham says he would support some ground troops in Syria. He says the fight against ISIS will not be won with airstrikes.
I'm trying to convey to the people of South Carolina, I know you're tired. I know you're tired of being in the Mideast, but I'd rather fight the war over there before it comes here.
In about 10 minutes, we're looking at Kayla Mueller's life and after the U.S. and her parents confirmed she was killed while being held by ISIS.
The trial date is set for a man accused of fatally shooting a Georgia police officer and hurting another. June 1st is jury selection in the trial for 37-year-old Jamie Hood. Hood is accused of killing Athens Clarke County police officer Elmer Buddy Christian in 2011.
A local school district is one of the defendants in a federal lawsuit. The Freedom From Religion Foundation, a group that defends the separation of church and state, filed the suit on behalf of 2 students. The suit claims teachers at Swainsboro Primary School in Emmanuel County led classroom prayer. Documents say when the families complained, the 2 students were forced to leave the classroom during the prayer. The suit says the school system violated the Constitution.
We are on your side tonight with a chance to snag some jobs. Home Depot says it's expecting a big bump in business in the spring, so it's hiring about 80,000 part-time workers. The company tells us 200 of those positions are in the 5 stores in our area. If you want to apply, we've got a link to the application on our website, WRDW.com. Just click on the Find It button.
Aiken Public Safety welcoming a new team member. They posted this picture on their Facebook page today. K9 Scooter, a 3-year-old German Shepherd, named in honor of Public Safety Officer Scotty Richardson. Public Safety got a grant from the Ben Roethlisberger Foundation to buy and train this new K9, so thank you Steelers for that.
Very cool. Another big change coming to Comedy Central. Jon Stewart is saying goodbye after a long run on The Daily Show.
And they know she's dead, but they're not sure how it happened, as people in her hometown remember Kayla Mueller held captive by ISIS.
And be sure to keep up with us even when we aren't on the air. We've got the latest news, weather, and sports updates on our Twitter pages. And right now, we're doing something kind of fun ahead of Valentine's Day. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Shane?
All right, abundant sunshine coming our way. A mainly dry pattern, but we do have some Arctic air heading southward. I'll tell you all about it coming up.
You're watching News 12 at 11 with Richard Rogers, Meredith Anderson, and Chief Meteorologist Shane Butler.